health is a big part of happiness.
I think so. Absolutely, I would agree.
Um, I guess you can. It's difficult to enjoy life when you don't have, when you're in pain, when you're not healthy or can't breathe.
So much so, and it also health. I think when you get pain, you're getting symptoms that are starting to activate, and there's a lot of things that about being healthy that contribute to the way you feel as a whole. So being healthy is an absence of pain, yes, but it's also the presence of a good feeling.
Yes, being overweight could be a painful thing, mentally and physically.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're talking about all the strategies, and we're also going over some knowledges on diet pills.
Mm-hmm.
And we have talked about two categories, and the third one is the newest one. That's a fat absorption inhibitor, and it's called Orlistat. Orlistat.
Mm-hmm.
When it just came out, remember the potato chips?
Yes.
It was really popular because we said, well, we can eat as much as junk food and not get fat.
But
bet
there
the
were
cell
some
was
side
good.
effects.
There are definitely side effects.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest one or common one is diarrhea.
Mm-hmm.
When you have too much fat intake that's not even being absorbed, it will just dilute and make you really go to the bathroom very often. And to go with that is, possible imbalance of vitamins, because there are certain categories of vitamins that are considered fat soluble.
Mm-hmm.
They're absorbed with the systems of fat, which is vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin E, and vitamin K.
I think those are very valuable in our bodies, and thank you for bringing that up. So if you're supplementing, remember that you need to be able to have it with a meal that actually has some fat in it.
And absolutely. And also, how effective is the fat absorption inhibitor? Does it work a lot? I mean, does it replace exercise and dieting? I mean, just that question itself sounds pretty fishy, right?
Very true.
Could anything replace exercise and dieting?
Mhm.
The statistics show that it will help you to lose 5 to 10% of weight. So the effect is moderate. And how long does that last? This involves something interesting. I want to share this personal story. I don't usually share a lot of my personal stories, but I think this one is very educational. The body, we have had some macho guy guests are comparing body to mechanics and cars. I don't think body is easily fooled like cars and mechanics. It's such a creation. It's hard to fool it.
Yes, that is true.
When I was in medical school when I was 16,
Mm-hmm.
I started when I was 15.
She's a protege.
I was young and innocent and foolish. So when I was taking the physiology class, and I learned, wow, the hormones such as thyroid hormones
Mm-hmm.
can actually boost up your metabolism and make you burn more calories as all teenagers. I always thought I was too fat.
Wow, you of all people.
Well, I loved food. I had a good appetite. I was growing.
Okay.
So I didn't want to be fat, but I wanted to be able to eat as much as I could.
Mhm.
And there's this miracle hormone, if you take more of it, and
Speed your metabolism.
maybe you can be not fat.
Mhm.
So guess what I did? Without telling anybody, I got some of those replacement medication for thyroid.
Oh my.
I took them,
And?
and waiting for a miracle to happen.
She just couldn't sleep.
No.
What?
Well, I had palpitation, sweating,
Oh
some
my.
of those effects that hormone pill is supposed to bring.
Okay.
And maybe I lost a bit of weight for a very short time. Everything went back to normal, even though symptoms went away.
Wow.
And after further studying in medical school, I realized actually quickly in our physiology class. In our body, there's a feedback mechanism. When you have too much of hormone
Mm-hmm.
of a certain kind,
Your
the
body
body was
adjusts.
going to make less of it. So it is very hard to fool the body. If you are trying to use a chemical to make the fat not absorb in here or there, or in general, it's just not easy because the mechanism is so well built in. It's hard to fight it.
Very true. What would I say, about 15 years ago, started taking antacids, and then I took more antacids, and then more antacids.
Why did you take it?
Because my stomach was feeling,
I see.
okay. So, but here's the issue. Somebody said, you know what, your body is stopping its own recovery as a result of you taking so much antacid. So I took myself off of it, and it took about 2 weeks, but then I adjusted, and I had no problems. I've never had to take antacid since.
Right.
So we create dependency sometimes,
Right.
and our bodies retract.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. The body will adjust to what appears in it,
Mhm.
and will try to bring it back to normal. And after years of practicing medicine, I come to realization that the best way to health is prevention.
Mhm.
Is not to get sick. The best way to lose weight or not being obese is not to gain weight.
Mhm.
So prevention is everything.
I very much agree, and we've talked about this several times, but one of the things that we're going to talk a little bit about is during the holidays, how do you prevent yourself from getting those 2 or 3 pounds each holidays to add up?
Discipline. Well, it's hard to discipline because it's a family time. It's the joyful, festive time. There's food and treats everywhere. I mean, how do you turn it down? You can indulge a little bit, but then it's simple math. You either have to work out a little bit more,
Mhm.
or you have to cut down another meal. You know, like I was talking sometimes, if you crave for ice cream, eat ice cream. Just don't eat another meal. If you were planning for a chicken salad of 500 calories and you want ice cream, eat the 500 calories ice cream
Mhm.
and don't eat that chicken salad. Even though the chicken salad is good for you, it's okay to occasionally indulge.
Emphasis on occasionally.
Yes.
A couple of things I wanted to mention that, backtracking just a little bit. One of the beginning of my undoing was in the 90s. They had a huge fat-free craze, and it seems to make sense. If you eat foods that are fat-free, then you don't get fat. Okay, very uneducated person at the time.
Same thing about sugar-free.
Very much so. So in both sugar-free and fat-free, there you look at what they put in instead. In the fat-free, they're putting in more carbs. In the sugar-free, they're putting in things that fool your brain into thinking that they're sweet, which are worse for you, both in your overall long-term health. And then sometimes, for example, they'll put in sweeteners that are maltodextrin and other things that have just as many calories, but they're sugar-free.
That's correct.
And so now you have something that's chemically changed that also has the same number of calories, and you're eating more of it because you think it's sugar-free.
That's right. That's right. So the diet pills, in general, do they work? They do work a little bit in the short term. If you need a kickstart and with the physician or physician's supervision,
Mhm.
it is okay to take it for the short term. But to expect that does it all for you is not going to happen.
You bet. And we still have a little bit of time left. One of the things that I have started as a tradition in our family in the holidays, now it helps a little bit because we're in Phoenix. Phoenix, there's good weather during the holiday season. But we've actually started to incorporate exercise. So, and there's actually a lot of families that do this. A form of exercise is playing football. So they have a big football game, before or after Thanksgiving dinner, and so it helps you work off some of those calories. So starting traditions that are very active, very good thing.
Absolutely. But don't forget, 70% of effort is still intake. You can exercise as hard as you want.
I agree. Could I make a comment along those lines? So, a mile of jogging burns how many calories?
300.
Not even. It's
200.
about 200 calories. And
Oh, yeah, yeah, 1 mile, yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably less than 200. It's
Yeah.
probably 150.
yeah, that's actually what I had in mind, is 150. I was compromising at the 200. But yeah, about 150. 150 calories is half of a power bar. So think about how much you eat during the holidays and think you're going to run a mile and you're going to counteract that.
Is it worth it?
Yeah, it's just be a little bit reasonable in what you do. Choose what you eat, and be finicky. If you don't like, you don't put it on your plate if you're not going to eat it. Number one, so you're not being wasteful. But number two, make sure that you get the things that you like and only eat the things that you like. Don't put things on your plate that are going to offend somebody if you don't finish it later.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is how I gained weight on my cruise, even though I exercised, but I was eating too much. The exercise was just bucket of water over a big fire.
And
Not enough.
You bet. Here's the little health tip that I am going to share as we end up our show, is that it's what I call cruise syndrome. So anytime somebody's going on a cruise, the first cruise I went on, I gained 10 pounds. So I realized that if I lose 10 pounds before I go on the cruise, that I can have a fun time. So cruise syndrome, a little health tip, do that before the holidays. If you normally gain 3 pounds during the holidays, lose 3 pounds before the
And
holidays.
maybe if you only gain 1 or 2, you're winning.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So, different ways to think about it. And we definitely thank all of our listeners for tuning in to the Ageless Living Show, where we give great advice. Always a lot of fun, but we appreciate interacting with all of you. And also, we look forward to tuning in the next week with everybody.
That's right. We're going to talk about a lot of things, including is rice good for you?
Which is very important, especially between the two cultures of Eastern and Western. And so, to make sure you tune in, listen to us, and we'll be able to give some great advice to you. We look forward to seeing you all next week.
This is Dr. Tony at Ageless Living. See you next time.